Okay, thank you, Mark. So 5 minutes, I'm going to have to bang through this pretty quickly. In 2013-14, a number of baseline surveys were done, primarily set up by Tracy Moore. And a component of those baseline surveys was a community rapid bushland assessment. And today I'm going to give you some of the results of birds in revegetation based on those rapid assessments, which went through to 2017. Okay, so Angatel Road, you've seen what it looked like in 2013, and the same site in 2017. So we looked at birds in both those treatments, if you like, and then compared them to the adjacent control area, which was a nearby area of Banksia Woodland. And then we also looked. We also looked at birds in the veld grass control site. So this is Koga Lab. All right. So just starting in here, the light green is the number of bird species. There's about just over 2 species in 2013 in the planted sites. Dropped a little bit in 2014, and then up to over 6 species. So 3 times the number of bird species over that 4 to 5 year period. Interesting to note that in the veld grass sprayed sites, started off with 6 species, up to 12 or so, and then up to 12. Should be looking there, up to 12. So it's interesting when you do clean up that understory and get rid of that veld grass and get that shrubby diversity back in, the birds come back in. And then the pink here is the adjacent control sites. So what bird species? 17 bird species were recorded across 6 surveys across 2 planted sites. Mostly open country species, but you can see some of the pollinator species Alison was talking about, brown honeyeater, New Holland honeyeater coming in, singing honeyeater. And I've asterisked there's 33 bird species, small insectivorous woodland bird species, thought to be declining in Perth. You don't see them in the heavily urbanised areas, and they're also starting to come into the restoration sites, which is encouraging. If you look at number of individual birds, similar pattern, less than 5 individuals per survey, dropped a bit in 2014, and then up to 17, so a 3-fold increase. Similarly, in the weed control sites, you're getting up to 40 individuals per 20-minute 2-hectare survey. Just note that in the control sites, there was also an increase in the number of individuals. So in the Jandakot area, the number of individual birds tended to go up. And then if you look at the small birds recognised as declining in the Perth region, you can see there was one species was recorded every 2 surveys back in 2013, none at all in 2014, but twice that. So you're getting one species of those declining birds turning up per 20-minute survey in the restoration sites. So there's scarlet robins, for example, thornbills. Right, so the broader monitoring program, we've got the bird surveys, 20 minutes 2-hectare searches, reptile, amphibians, mammals, dry pitfall traps, remote sensing cameras for mammal activity, ant monitoring with wet pitfalls, pollination transects, and carnaby's feeding activity in 10 by 10 plots, and looking at quenda activity. So that's just an overview of the kind of surveys. We have targets for the reveg at 0 to 7 years, 8 to 12 years, 13 to 20 years, and you can get more details in this sort of draft report, or it's pretty much a final report now as to the details. All right, so finally, just finishing up, I mentioned the rapid bushland assessment. The community component of the surveys is very important. It's not only does it get community involved, but it also includes a much wider spread of surveys. There's over 70 sites across Perth that are being surveyed by community, well over 1,100 surveys done. If you randomly choose ones that were done in Banksia Woodlands over the time, 2013, 14, 15, this is the number of birds, individual birds per per 20-minute 2-hectare survey, and it stays constant. Whereas if you recall, when you look at the Jandakot woodland control sites, the number of individuals actually increased. So it gives you an idea of how the Jandakot sites sit into the wider perspective around Perth. So the Jandakot reference sites had more quenda activity, more rabbit activity, more weed cover, lower ant diversity, and fewer black cockatoos.